Hey everyone, welcome back to Yuri's Box. In this video, I'm going to look at the S&P 500. Beware certainty. If you like this kind of content, consider leaving a like. And as usual, nothing in this video is financial advice. So I talked ad nauseum really about the possibilities of what will happen on April 2nd. Really, next week is a fairly important and week when it comes down to economic data. We have, really, we're still waiting on a PCE read this Friday, but looking at next week, we have jobs report, and we'll be looking at that for the quits rate, ISM for manufacturing, and really another round of initial jobless claims and non-farm payrolls, of course, on Friday. What we'll also be getting is announcements on April 2nd, again, going back to the tariff narrative, on what is it exactly that we're going to get. And I've talked about how uncertainty is definitely playing a role. And I'll try and keep this video short, really, because the entire point of this video is to kind of heed a warning, really. While uncertainty is definitely something that gets punished, especially in something like stocks, for example, the certainty of a bad outcome, however, is nothing to cheer. And however strong or benign the tariffs are, you run the risk that at the end of the day, you still have to price in tariffs. Okay, be it low tariffs or a medium to strong response, medium to high tariffs, really. So while it is true that, and I definitely agree that uncertainty can have an adverse effect on the outlook, because again, if you're a business leader, imagine you have to plan the year ahead. And do I have to envision a world where I have to, incur higher costs because of tariffs? Do I have to plan thinking that the status quo will continue? Which one is it? And so what you're most likely to see again is something like, businesses and, CEOs and CFOs just say, you know what, I'll wait. I'm not going to take any risk. And that is, again, a headwind to growth. On the other hand, if you do get, a certain outcome, so let's say Trump comes out and it's, tariffs getting actually put in place. And again, even today we had, another day on, Mr. Trump's wild ride. He was supposed to announce tariffs on cars and autos. Nothing really got announced. It was really a press conference about, I think, women's history or women's rights, really. As far as I could tell, it was really more of a I'll make an announcement. Okay, it was announcement of an announcement, and so we're still really waiting to see what we're gonna get. And again, I just want to put this out there that if we do get tariffs, be it a benign outcome or a worse outcome, we're still talking about tariffs. Okay, we're still talking about putting in place something that is a hindrance to growth. And arguably, we still have to price that in, I think, or at least you have the possibility of the markets having to price that in. So far, the market really isn't pricing anything in my opinion. It's just, as I've said many times before, this downturn is more a reflection of having to walk back the extreme optimism that we had at the end of, in December, really. Coming into the year, markets were expecting really all of the good that comes with the Trump presidency and none of the bad. They also were expecting, a different sequencing I spoke about that in my previous video. So the differences between Trump 1.1, 1.0 and 2.0 is that in his first term you had some of the candy coming in first, so tax cuts and some deregulation to you know act as stimulus to the economy, and then came the tariffs, and people were really pricing in similar sequencing. We got the opposite. We got the bad news first, so we're currently nearly 3 months in. At the end of April it'll be 3 months, um, and we've only spoken about really tariffs and the again the possibility of somewhat fiscal tightening, which again are not growth positive. They're both growth negative. And coming back to April 2nd, if you do get tariffs, however good or bad the news may be, at the end of the day, the news is we got tariffs. Okay. I think the only way the market gets away scot free is if again we get tariffs just getting completely walked back. If we get tariffs getting pushed out, and so for whatever reason we get, say, a decision on tariffs get pushed out, maybe postponed by a month, I think that would be the worst case scenario overall, because again it just comes back to the uncertainty narrative. Okay, you're not giving businesses answers, and businesses will definitely give you an answer, which is I'm gonna wait and see what the business environment looks like, and then I'm gonna make a choice based on that. Again, if, however, I'm going kind of back in circles here, but to cut things short, whatever the announcement on April 2nd, I think the biggest risk for markets is that we have to price in possibly a world with tariffs, and for at least for the foreseeable future, before we get down to negotiating possible new trade deals. And I'm particularly looking at the EU for that. I think that basically the bulk of these tariffs are targeted against the EU, and I think what Trump is potentially trying to get out of it is a new trade deal with the EU, possibly so that the EU and the US can then go together in block with against possible other problems, and face other problems together in unison, such as China, such as things in the Middle East. Okay. Again, we'll see. We'll see how April 2nd comes out. Again, just beware. Of certainty, because while it is true that uncertainty is not pleasant, an unpleasant certainty, on the other hand, is definitely not pleasant either. So, the only thing we can do really at this point is wait. I just wanted to put that out there. And again, as far as the S&P 500 is concerned, again, we kind of got a rally. It wasn't as strong as I was expecting. Now, could this continue to go on further back to the bull market support as I was expecting? Possibly. But really that kind of that window opportunity is kind of closing, and it'll just be at the mercy of April 2nd and next week's data. Again, if the data continues to come out somewhat okay, risk assets really will kind of be stuck in a limbo until we really get further confirmation of wherever it is we're going. But again, if we do get tariffs, we still don't have some of the candy that we had in his first term. So again, uncertainty is unpleasant, but an unpleasant certainty is unpleasant as well. I guess that's the moral of the story. Uh, do with that what you I'll leave that to you. What you want to make of it. If you like this kind of content, consider leaving a like, and I'll see you next time. Bye.